Hey guys, welcome back to Popo's Woodworks. Today's project is going to be saloon doors, something my wife wanted me to do. We got this dog that we have in our house, and our steps, it's really wide, so we don't have a door separating it. So I'm actually going to build these to put them right there at my steps so the dog cannot get downstairs. Because when he gets by himself, he thinks he can do what he wants to, and that ain't happening. So basically, the lumber and stuff, I'm going to show you the lumber list real quick. I haven't ever built these. I'm just going to be winging it off the top of my head, so it's going to kind of go with the flow. But I did get these from my father, and he had these years ago. These are they swinging style hinges. So I'm going to repurpose those. If you buy them, it's going to take 4. So if you buy them at Lowe's or Home Depot, I think they're around about $20 per hinge. So he had them. I ain't got to buy them. So basically, I'm going to get to showing you the wood I'm going to use. I may need a little bit more. Like I said, I really don't know. I don't have no plans. I'm just going to kind of do it off the top of my head. So just bear with me. We'll get this started. So I wanted to show you this. This is the project panel, as you can see. And I've used these before in some other projects, but I wanted to show you the paper. So basically, this is what it looks like, and it's all wrapped in plastic. But this one is 3/4 inch thick, 16 inches wide, 72 inches long. So my opening, I think, is 36 inches, so I may have to use a 2x4 to fill in on there. So this is going to be the 2 doors. So I'm going to cut this in half, as you can see on the saw, and then I'll use that as my 2 swinging doors. And then I just bought, if you've ever bought trim's expensive. So I got these. I think these were $6.48 for an 8-foot section, and it just gives it a little bit of something to kind of dress it up. So I wasn't really sure how many of those I needed, so I bought 4 8-foot sections. I'd rather have too much than not enough. And then, lastly, for some reason, my Lowe's doesn't carry the dark walnut anymore. So yeah, that kind of ticks me off. So I had to settle for special walnut 224. It really makes me mad they don't have I love my dark walnut. But anyway, that's a horse of a different color. So now, I'm gonna measure this completely dead center, and we're going to get this thing cut. All right, what I did is I went ahead and cut these down. Like I said, I cut it in half. So basically I cut it down to 36 inches, which is 3 feet. So now I'm going to take the trim and I'm going to measure it, and I'm going to run trim all the way around the edges. Like I said, just try to dress up where it don't look so plain. So let me go ahead and get that up, and we'll get to rolling on that. What I did is I went ahead and took this very end piece and went ahead and knocked off a 45-degree angle on the miter saw. That way to get me started. So basically what I'll do now is I'm going to come down here and I'm going to line it up this way and just make me a pencil mark, and then I'm going to lay that on the saw and then cut it as well at a 45, but I'm going to go the opposite way with that one. Now that I have this one cut to length, now I'm gonna have to cut one for each side. I'm not gonna do the back side in the steps because it's just gonna be mainly seen from the kitchen. So now I'm gonna save this as a template, and I'll use that to cut the other 3 that I've got to cut, and then I'll go back and cut the small pieces. All right, so right here is the piece that I had left over. If you can see that, I don't know if it's on camera. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna cheat. If you're not good with angles like myself, I'm going to line this piece up to where I want it, and I'm going to hold that thing, well, if I can get it to line up, there we go, and I'm going to hold it there. Then I'm going to take the other outside edge and I'm going to line it up, and I'm pretty sure there's some real life carpenters out there that are laughing at me, but this way, see what I did? I laid this one on top, then I'll draw me a line. And now I know that when I go to cut that, it's going to fit perfectly in here the way I need it. But like I said, I know there's some carpenters out there that's laughing at me, but hey, this is how I do it. So I'm going to keep doing it that way. I just cut the other end off, and there it goes. So that's the end of this. Now, not only do I have a template for the other strips, now I've got a smaller template because the other end is the exact same size. So now my life just got a lot easier. So I'm gonna go ahead and cut the rest of these out, and then we'll get to gluing and shooting these things with brads to put them to the door. Okay, So I did end up going back to Lowe's and buying another piece of trim, because the more I thought about it, I am going to do the trim pieces on both sides of the door because I'm OCD and I have to have both sides equal. But I did go back and I bought just this little strip right here because I got to thinking about it, and I know my finger's in the camera and I apologize. Once I put the trim pieces on each side of this, you're going to see this raw edge here, and so what I'm going to use that other piece for is I'm going to use it to lay right across to cover that edge and kind of dress it up a little bit. So now I'm going to start laying these out and getting the glue ready if it ain't too cold, because it's cold in the shop, and seeing if I can't shoot this stuff and get it done. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to line all this up just to make sure I don't have to do any fine tuning on it, which it looks like I might be pretty good. And I'll go ahead and get my glue, and I'm going to put glue down, and I'm going to shoot these with maybe a 1-inch brad. That way it don't go all the way through. But I'm going to go ahead and tack these with brads, flip it over, and do the same thing. As always, with wood projects, you always run into a hiccup, and you can see, if I can hold it steady enough, mine. So basically, just throw that in the floor. This is too wide, and if you look, the thickness is too wide to fit inside the hinge. So I marked it, and what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take my belt sander and try to knock this down enough to where that hinge will sit flat on top of the door. As you can see, I've already mounted this hinge. These little pieces right here, that's the spring, how it sets the spring. So you can take something as long as it fits in one of these holes, you pull it, and that little piece right there comes out. Then it lets this move easily so you can mount it to the wall. And then when you're ready to put it back in, you set it to your desired tension, like that's a little bit loose. So what I'll do is I'll put it right here, and then you check it and make sure you got it tight. So that's how you do that. I know I'm kind of going backwards. I did one. Now I'll show you how I got the thing on the door. So basically, I set the hinge on here, and then try to get in here where I can hold it. All right, I'm gonna hold it right there, and then I'm gonna mark my holes, because I got to pre-drill them. I don't want to split the wood. All right. Now I've got my holes drilled, marked. Then I'll just come back with a drill bit and drill them out. Then you lay your hinge back up here, and I got some screws. And then you just screw them on down. So here's what the little door looks like after you get the hinges on. And like I said, this tension, because I got it really tight now. I don't think I'll need it that tight. But anyway, you loosen the tension by moving that little piece that's inside of there. But now I'm gonna take them inside and see what I got to work with, or how much space I'm lacking, if I got to put a 2x4 on each end or what. So just bear with me and we'll get to moving along. I had to cut a few pieces like I figured I would. Here's the 2x4s. They're gonna go up and down on my wall on each side of the steps, and then I've got this trim right there at the bottom of my steps where the steps go down. So I had to take and cut, make sure I had to cut this angle, which was 130 degrees. That way, that trim is 3/4 inches thick. That way I could butt this against the wall, and then the 2x4 would sit over top of it, so I can mount the 2 doors to this. So now I'm gonna go ahead and stain all this wood, and then stain the doors and let that be drying. Now what I had to do is this trim here, which sticks out 1/4 inch, that's where I cut that angle to butt that up so I can mount this 2x4 to it, which I'm gonna dress it up a little later. I'm just trying to get this to where I can get the doors mounted, and now I'm gonna do the other side of the steps. So here's what the saloon doors look like after they're finished and they're up. So like I said, it's a double hinge, so it'll pop, and then of course the other one. And that's it. And all because of him. You're the reason I had to put all that work in. So you can't go downstairs. Yeah, that's right. You're mean. Well, that's it. That's my version of the saloon doors. And you can put them things anywhere. You can put them to separate a hallway. You can make them longer. You can make them shorter. But in my case, I needed to put them right there in my steps. I think my steps open is like 36 3/4 inches wide. Didn't have a door. And basically the reason I did is, like I told y'all before, is because of my dog. He likes to go in there and make a mess when he ain't supposed to. So anyhow, that's about it. If you got any questions, shoot me a comment down below. I'll try to answer them to the best of my ability. I am not a professional when it comes to this. Like I said, some of them carpenters out there can probably throw me some nice comments on there of what I did wrong, but I got it done. That's all that matters. But shoot me a comment, I'll answer your questions, and like always, thank you for watching, like, and subscribe, and y'all have a nice day.